So security very tight right now in Washington. Alejandro del Carmen is Associate Dean of the School of Criminology at Tarleton University. He joins us now via Skype from Fort Worth in Texas in the US. Good to have you with us, sir. I want to start by getting your thoughts on the unprecedented security measures that are currently in place in Washington, D.C.
You know, typically you see that security protocols are in place in most of the inaugurations, and we've known in the past few inaugurations that that security protocol has increased somewhat, particularly 4 years ago, but nothing like we're seeing now, right? So the actual security protocol that is in place today is of historical proportions in the United States. I can tell you that those of us that have been in the law enforcement industry or security industry for a number of years, in my case, 23 years, I can tell you that I've never seen anything like it in my life, right? Where you have outside perimeters, space that is being frozen to not necessarily allow any airplanes close by, and also the things that we're not able to see, right? There's a lot of security stuff that's going on behind the scenes that most Americans that are going to be close to Washington, D.C. will never see either.
The FBI has warned of possible protests right across the nation by right-wing extremists, emboldened by last week's invasion of the Capitol. Where's the evidence for that? Where are we most likely to see disruption on Inauguration Day, if indeed it happens?
You know, I think that most of us are hoping that nothing happens, but I think the FBI and others are simply planning for something to happen. The intelligence that they have gathered up to now, all of which is public information up to this point, is that they have been planning to either have some attacks locally or close to Washington or in other state capitals across the United States. But the bottom line is that law enforcement cannot take this for granted. Law enforcement cannot ignore those signs. Because I think to some extent there were some lessons that were learned on the 6th of January when these rioters stormed the Capitol building. So all hands on deck, as we say here in the States. I think that all 50 states are going to be ready and alert, but mostly Washington, D.C.
You talk about these signs. How will potential demonstrators, agitators, how will they have been organised, given that many of the social media groups that right-wing extremists have been using to communicate and to organise have been shut down?
Right. So what we have learned is that they have actually found other ways to send each other messages that are encrypted, ways that they can communicate other than the mainstream Facebook or Twitter or other social media sites, as you know, that have been shut down. So as we say here, you know, when there is a will, there is a way, right? And they have the capability of being able to connect with one another, but so does law enforcement. Law enforcement is tracking that. Law enforcement is able to identify what those exchanges of information are and hopefully have enough information out there that we know the type of threat, we know the type of threat level, and we know how to address it immediately.
Really good to talk to you, sir. Many thanks indeed. Alejandro del Carmen there in Fort Worth in Texas.
Thank you.